How's it going, guys? For a while now, a couple of you have requested that I start reviewing older, more classic films, not just popcorn flick generic movies that come out every week. And since I am currently taking an art of film course that explores the brilliant cinema of the early 20th century, and it recently had a screening of what is widely considered to be possibly the best movie of all time, I figured why not throw my hat in the ring and start reviewing some of these older, more classic movies when I'm able to see them. So, starting off, Citizen Kane was directed by Orson Welles. It stars him as well. It was released in 1941. And it follows the story of this billionaire genius playboy philanthropist who utters one last word on his deathbed. This one last word is the only lead a group of investigative journalists have to try to piece together his life. And it is, as it is widely regarded, no surprise, a masterpiece. Starting off, what I love about this movie is its genius, just absolutely genius storytelling. It starts off with establishing shot of Citizen Kane's, or Charles Foster Kane's, as his name is, his mansion in a place named Xanadu, and he mutters this last word, he dies, and then the film goes into this sort of like news segment where it chronologically breaks down his life. And we get to see that, and we get to see how the journalists attempt to piece that together. So as the journalists continue to try to find leads and follow up with people who knew Charles Foster Kane, it goes into flashback sequences. So it's like a mystery in that it constantly puts together pieces of his life in an attempt to solve the mystery. What does this last word mean? What's its significance? And the journalists think if they can figure out the significance of the last word he muttered, that they would be able to put together what his life meant in a nutshell, because Charles Foster Kane was a loved and polarized figure at the same time. He was a politician, he was a philanthropist, he liked to look out for the little guy, he liked to look out for the working class, for the working man, but he was a little bit of an egotistical narcissist. He had some problems to it. He was at the same time, while he was liked in public, he was very disliked by the people who actually got to know him, and how the movie explores this with its very, very hard-hitting and effective themes of how one can be corrupted by their power, how it's great to be an ambitious go-getter, but you still have to pay attention to how you treat those around you, how you can't be corrupted just by power and money, how money can't buy happiness. These are universal, timeless themes that the film does an amazing job exploring, and a lot of that is due to its storytelling structure. From beginning to end, the timeline is a little bit jumbled because sometimes they'll go follow up this lead and it'll fast forward, it'll go back to a flashback, and other times it'll fast forward to the interview that's being conducted and go back to a sequence you've already seen, but now you have new information, now you know how it's relevant. When I was watching this movie for the first time, when they just did like the newsreel exposition heavy, like, this was Charles Foster Kane's life, I was a little bit confused. I was like, okay, why don't we just see his whole life as opposed to, like, in real time, in film time, as opposed to just a news segment? But having us as viewers go back and see just his life in different stages, it made the story so immersive, because we know certain things are going to happen, certain tragedies are going to happen in his life, and it makes it even more tragic when it actually happens and comes to screen. I loved this movie's storytelling. It made it very immersive, like I said, and it really made me feel like I was experiencing his life as a viewer, which a lot of movies don't get me to feel a lot of times. Another thing that's brilliant about this movie is its cast. The cast, all the performances are amazing across the board, but Orson Welles, who both directed this movie and stars as Charles Foster Kane, this was just a masterful performance. He is, like I said, he's driven, he's ambitious, he can be very funny, he knows all the right words, but the one thing he doesn't understand is both that money can't buy his happiness and that he is not the driving force behind his life. He spends his whole time believing that he is in ultimate control of his destiny, and seeing that idea progressively corrupt him and how he treats his friends, his spouse. It's just amazing to watch. Orson Welles knocks this performance out of the park. Another thing that's masterful about this movie, besides its performances and its storytelling structure, is its cinematography. This is perhaps the most well put together drama I've ever seen. There's so many brilliant cinematic techniques that's utilized throughout various points of the movie, from dramatic long takes to several montage sequences. This is how you do narration and montages. This movie, I can see why it was so revolutionary for the time it was released in. This movie is a cinematic experience. It uses so many different camera techniques that completely immerse the viewers. And there were so many times, thanks to this art of film class I'm taking, that I was able to see, oh, this is why the camera constantly pans out and zooms in, and this is why this character's lighting is this way. Oh, I see that these characters are blocked this certain way to give extra dramatic tension to the scene. This is a cinematic masterpiece. I absolutely love how this movie's put together. There's not too much I can say about it. I don't want to get into spoiler territories of what I loved about the plot. I love the mystery. I love how it's revealed progressively. I love the resolution. The story has such satisfying resolution towards the end, and like classic movies can do, it doesn't just spell out the ending for you. While the significance is there, the mystery is uncovered, it's not completely black and white, unlike the movie's actual presentation. It makes you still have to sit on it. You still have to think about it. This is a movie with substance, and I'm so glad I was able to view it in a giant auditorium on a big screen. There's not much more I can say about this movie except that you need to see it. If you just love movies in general, if you love dramas, I love this movie. I'm gonna give Citizen Kane, of course, 5 out of 5 stars. I am Pac. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you like this video. And I'm out for now.